The Watson Tru Squat. Now this is a stretch position biased quad exercise. So it's a squat pattern. It's going to be harder in the stretch position, which is what we want from this exercise. And there are a couple of setup tips that I have for you that are going to take this from feeling average, like any machine, to feeling great. Now, the first thing is there was a 58 kilo counterbalance on this, which I've removed, and I've given you the ability to adjust the counterbalance how you like. For a few of us, it was taking too much load off. And so some of us, we could load up the machine to its max stack, and we still needed more weight for the machine. So I've taken this off, and now it's quite difficult. So if you find that, 10 kilos or 15 or 20 kilos is a little much, and you want to make smaller increments, or it's a little hard in the stretch position for you, which will be the case the less you are lifting, and the more you're lifting, the less you'll probably notice that. And so people that are using a lot more weight on this will use probably minimal counterbalance. And then people that are using generally less weight overall, somewhere around 1 plate or less, will find the counterbalance very, very beneficial. So use the counterbalance there. Like I said, there was about 58 kilos on it. So 2.5 plates around that. So 2 20s and a 10 is roughly what was on there. So load that up, and then you can make your increments here that'll feel a little smaller per jump. But also you'll find that the bottom position is not as difficult with the counterbalance on. That's the most important part. Now at the back here, we've got obviously the adjustability here of the shoulder pads. If you're not blessed with height like me, I've drilled another hole in it so we can go all the way down. And that means that we're not going to bottom this machine out before we hit our true deepest stretch position, which is what we want from this exercise. So nice and low. The setup is a little difficult and definitely needs a bit of conversation around it. So unrack. You're going to feel like your feet are quite below you, if not kind of far back in the ideal position. We do have a seatbelt, which you can clip in. We don't really need to use this range here as much. What we want is the bottom position. And so what this machine does really well is it shifts the center of mass back. So if you were to do a front squat with a barbell or any other squat variation, you would just fall backwards. By design of the machine, it's not going to happen here. And it's shifting us back, putting a lot of tension on the quads, which is what we want, without us falling over. So no free weight will really replicate the position that you can get into in this exercise at the bottom. So starting with those feet in a really good position, we want to make sure that our heels aren't coming off. And you'll notice a lot of range of motion. And I would fall over if this machine wasn't behind me here. So that's what the goal to this machine is. Seatbelt, lock the hips back. It's important, and you'll notice as well, hips will want to come forwards as we try use other muscle groups outside of the quads to do the exercise. Now, I'm not going to load it up. I've got a hamstring that I'm recovering from surgery, so I'm just going to use no weight. And notice a lot of knee bend, minimal hip bend in the bottom position here. So my knees are like full range flex there, whereas my hips are probably just below 90. Which is a lot of quad here. Now the re-rack, chuck it in, put it down, unrack, and you're good. Now if your feet are really far out, it's going to feel pretty difficult in the contracted position, which is not what we want from this, and quite awkward. So get your feet nice and under you, make sure the heels aren't coming off in the bottom position, and then your setup is really good. Enjoy and train hard.